I want to start off by just connecting my personal story to what we're doing here today. I grew up right up the street, and I'd love to say that I was one of those kids that always listened to my parents and always did the right thing. But the reality is that none of us are perfect, and all of us make mistakes. I'd made mistakes myself. I got in trouble with the law, and if it wasn't for just amazing supports that I had around me, my life could have easily gone in a different direction. This became even more true for me when I saw friends of mine from this neighborhood that didn't have those supports, that went to different high schools or just were surrounded by different influences. Their lives definitely took a turn, and a turn for the worse. So I think back to so many friends that I grew up with that had all the capacity to become world beaters in their own rights, but because of circumstances or sometimes just bad luck, they ended up in really, really bad circumstances. And fast forward 30, 40 years, here we are, and many of those same circumstances still exist. Kids with loads of potential and opportunity, but unless they're in the right nurturing environment, that opportunity will never develop. And so what we're doing here today is more than simply investing some dollars from the American Rescue Plan. We're making investments as a community, and we're all lifting our hands to be part of the solution to make sure that that potential that we have in our community gets fully realized. So that's why we're here. So it's absolutely safer today in Providence than it has ever been, at least in my lifetime. However, what is up right now is gun violence, which is deeply, deeply concerning to all of us. Which means that if you're a person who is involved with guns or involved in gangs, it's dangerous out there. And what we want to do is provide as many opportunities so that kids don't steer in that direction as we possibly can. So today we're announcing the investment of American Rescue Plan dollars that are going to go to 3 initiatives. And these initiatives were initiatives that come directly from the community. I remember months ago after we had the shooting on Carolina Avenue, one of the first calls I made was to James Montero. And I asked James to help put together a group of people from the community that are on the front lines that I can talk to, that I can hear from, and that can make recommendations to me as to how we should invest these dollars. And 3 recommendations came to the forefront. The first is we need to provide more job opportunities for our young people. Second, there are a lot of people that want to be part of the solution but don't know how to engage, so we have to provide avenues for mentorship, and it has to be high-quality mentorship. And then last, there's a need and an appetite for nonviolence training throughout the entire community. Those came directly from people living on the front lines, families that have lost children to violence, and that's exactly what we're investing here today. Now, the American Rescue Plan provides a unique opportunity to make long-standing impacts in our city, especially for those who have been impacted by COVID-19. We know that this rise in gun crime has coincided with the rise of the pandemic. I'm happy that as a city, working with the City Council, we're putting American Rescue dollars to work. So, working with the City Council, we invested at $2.6 million in this anti-violence work, and we've also invested through our budget in a new police academy. So many folks in our community tell us that this work begins with new job opportunities. While the City of Providence has always had a robust summer jobs program, we know that there are skills that need to be built, nurtured, and developed throughout the entire year. So we have partnered with 8 providers, many of whom are here today, and we are now creating 450 year-round jobs, every one of which pays at least $15 an hour for the youth throughout our city. Can we have an applause for that? So if you're a young person looking for a job in our city, please visit pvdrescueplan.com/apply for more information. Please help us spread the word and make sure as many folks from our community benefit. In addition to Jobs for Youth, we're working to use our ARPA dollars for youth mentoring. Youth mentoring provides our community's kids with positive role models, educational supports, and so much more. In comparison to their peers, youth who have a mentor are 52% less likely to skip a day of school. They're also 46% less likely to start using illegal drugs. Surprisingly, or perhaps not, people who have mentors also experience fewer depressive symptoms. It's about connections in our community, and that's what mentors provide. So I'm pleased to announce that we've awarded a contract to Mentor RI to provide training and technical assistance to community organizations looking to expand and grow their own mentorship programs. We will also be offering direct financial assistance so that these community-based organizations can provide those mentorship programs. The RFP is now available, and if you're interested as an organization, I encourage you to please apply and visit pvdrescueplan.com/apply to learn more about this and other opportunities. And last but not least, the third component to our community violence reduction and prevention strategy focuses on empowering residents with knowledge and skills in conflict resolution through trainings and community networks. We've awarded a 2-year contract to the Nonviolence Institute. The Nonviolence Institute is an incredible asset here in our community who's well positioned to provide these trainings. I want to step back for just a moment. I'm sure many people here remember the incident where I believe there were something like over 30 calls to one address, and it eventually blew up into an incident that was captured on camera. You know, we should be asking ourselves as a community why the police was called that many times to that address before we tried a different approach. I mean, think of it. After 2 or 3 calls, we should know that there was going to be a 4th, there was going to be a 5th, there was going to be a 6th. At what point do we invest in anti-violence measures to interrupt that violence, to prevent that 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th call? And that's exactly the kind of work that the Nonviolence Institute has been doing for such a long time, interrupting that cycle of violence and being creative and innovative, but all the while connecting deeply with the families experiencing these circumstances. So this initiative, which the Nonviolence Institute calls their SEED Referral Program, engages with young people in our community that are looking to make change in their life and become productive members of our community. And the quote-unquote beloved community workshop that they will be offering will provide training and nonviolence skills such as mindfulness, mental health awareness, and personal development to any interested adult. The first of these trainings is already scheduled for February 6th. If anyone is interested in participating and being a part of this, again, pvdrescueplan.com/apply to learn more about this. Finally, last week, I presented my proposed budget to the City Council on how to invest the remaining ARPA, American Rescue Plan dollars. This proposal included an additional $2 million for these anti-violence investments. I hope that the City Council will join me to be able to build on these programs even further with additional resources behind them. We know that there's no one-size-fits-all approach or solution to addressing violence in our community. Instead, we have to take a all-hands-on-deck, holistic look at the root causes of violence, and we have to address them from all those angles. Through this 3-pronged approach, I am confident that we are going to provide more opportunity and thereby more hope for the young people in our city and make it less likely that they will turn to violence either now or in the future. Again, more details on everything that we're announcing here today is available at pvdrescueplan.com/apply. I want to thank everyone, deeply and sincerely who's here today for being part of the solution and for the work that's ahead. Thank you all for your support of all these initiatives.